1 Corinthians 2, starting in verse 6. Yet among the mature we do impart wisdom, although it is not a wisdom of this age or of the rulers of this age. We're mainly going to stay in 1 Corinthians chapter 2. But let's take a look at what this verse is saying. So it describes two types of wisdom. One wisdom, the wisdom of the world that the rulers of that age went by. And what did that wisdom lead them to? Well, that wisdom led them to death. It led them to destruction. Then we see another type of wisdom, the wisdom that Paul and the Corinthians share, and that wisdom is different. So let's keep reading and let's learn a little bit about what this wisdom is. Verse 7, but we impart a secret and hidden wisdom of God, which God decreed before the ages for our glory. None of the rulers of this age understood this, for if they had, they would not have crucified the Lord of glory. So this wisdom, as we just read, is from God. It's from God, and it was delivered to us by the Lord of glory, who was crucified. And that's what makes it different. The Lord of glory is Jesus. And Jesus giving us this wisdom and having this wisdom is different because he didn't pass away. He didn't meet the same doom that those rulers who went with the wisdom of the world met. Let's keep reading in verse 10. Verse 10. These things God has revealed to us through the Spirit. For the Spirit searches everything, even the depths of God. For who knows a person's thoughts except the spirit of that person which is in him? So also no one comprehends the thoughts of God except the Spirit of God. Now we have received not the spirit of the world, but the Spirit who is from God, that we might understand the things freely given to us by God. So this wisdom is given to us through the Spirit also. And that Spirit is the Spirit of God. And with it being the Spirit of God, as it said in verse 11, it knows God. It knows God's will, and it can tell us God's will. But because it knows everything about God, it also knows everything about us. Let's see what the Spirit has to say about us. Well, Romans 3:23 says, all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. And Romans 6:23 says, the wages of sin is death. And so because you and me have sinned, we deserve death. That's what the Spirit says. The wisdom that when we follow our own wisdom, like those in verse 6, it leads to death. So how can we obtain the wisdom that Paul and the Corinthians had and that Jesus taught and not die and not have death? Well, let's turn to Mark chapter 16. Mark 16 and verse 16. Mark 16:16 says, whoever believes and is baptized will be saved, but whoever does not believe will be condemned. The choice is yours. If you want to take on this wisdom and have the gift of the Spirit and have eternal life and be saved from the death that you deserved, then all you need to do is to believe in Jesus and his resurrection and to come forward and be baptized. If there's any way we can assist you in that tonight, please come forward as we stand and sing.
Shine.